Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. It's your girl Isis, and Stella is the wine, and now the apple cider that I drink. How y'all doing?
Great, a lot better.
Ah,
Doing good.
What up?
all
What up?
right,
What up?
Sir Shadow, Eddie, and Kyle. It's good to see y'all again.
Good to be back.
Good. I hope everyone is doing well and ready for to jump off on this list we got going on. Tonight is going to be our top five best horror flicks of all time, at least of all time to us. Strictly our opinion. You ready, Kyle?
I was born ready.
All right, then. Well, let's try to jump this off. Let's get this party started right. Oh.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Um, your girl is moving just a little bit slow. But you could go ahead and tell us about how thrilled you were to do this.
Oh, this list. Oh, this list was in fact truly a labor of love for me. Uh, I love a good horror movie, uh, and I love uh, a well thought out plot. I think horror over the years has moved from like the make you jump, uh, suspenseful to more of just the slasher type. Just slashing blood and gore, which to me is slashing bloody gory as opposed to true horror building up a crescendo to a great reveal. And in a couple of the movies that I selected, there are great reveals, and I'm rather torn about the great reveal. I may give the great reveal, or I may give viewers the opportunity to see the great reveal themselves, which I think is probably only fair because the end. Revealing the end kind of spoils it. But for me, it was a labor of love because, like I said, horror has just changed over the years. And I just really loved the list, and it was hard for me to pare it down to five in an honorable mention, but I did.
All right. Well, let's start off with your number five. And when you tell us what it is, I'll bring it up on the next screen so we can see what you're talking about.
Okay, my number five is Nosferatu.
And how are you spelling that, sir?
Nosferatu.
What year?
1922. And uh, before, as we discussed, I didn't think there would be any bumping of heads on this selection because this movie it is a very well known movie because at the time the special effects were cutting edge. Uh, the actual technical name of the movie is the Opera of the Opera of Nosferatu. Uh, because the use with the music, it was before the talkies came. This was a movie you had to read.
Mhm.
And uh, the crux of the story is Hutter, who is one of the main characters in the movie. Hutter and his wife Helen are madly in love. Hutter works for Knock, who's a real estate agent, and Knock gets a letter from Nosferatu that he wants to buy land in the city that Hutter and his wife live in. So Hutter has to ride across the Shadowlands and the Badlands to get to Nosferatu's castle. And while he's there, he experiences some supernatural things. And while he's finalizing the deal with Nosferatu, he has a locket with his wife's picture on it. And the locket falls onto the table, and Nosferatu looks at the picture and he says, "Your wife has a beautiful neck." Yeah, and uh, basically, Nosferatu says, "I'm going to buy the house." Hutter, writes a letter to his wife, about how much he misses her. It's uh, really well done for the time film. And like I said, it introduced a lot of cutting edge special effects for 1922. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you put it on your list to watch. That's uh, that's number five. Number four uh, is also a classic. I may bump heads with someone on this one. It is George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
Okay, I like that movie.
Yeah. Um, this is one that I had seen years ago, probably several times over the years, but rewatching it, I gathered some new ideas about the main characters in the movie. Um,
Is
there
this the
were
one you're talking about?
I can't see that picture. Can you make that one picture living? Night of the Living Dead. Oh yeah, with the black guy in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And to me there was a. I think at that time he. I don't know. This is just me. He picked the black guys as a leading character uh, in the movie as kind of a social commentary, uh, because you know when they get to the house. Uh, okay, at the beginning, what's her name? A brother and sister go to put flowers on their father's grave, and while they're laying the flowers down, brother starts teasing the sister about her being afraid, and there's this guy walking across the graveyard, and he goes, "Barbara, he's gonna get you, he's gonna get you, Barbara," and the guy actually does try to get her. So he attacks the brother. The sister gets away and she runs to this deserted house. And then the black guy comes into the deserted house and he starts boarding up the house, tells her about what he saw that happened in town. And then they discover that there's a guy and his girlfriend and a family of three in the basement of the house.
Hmm.
And the guy from the basement comes up and he wants to start running things. And then the black guy has to remind him that, hey, I'm running stuff up here. Now you can help me or you can go back down in the basement.
Mm.
So to make the long story short, they make it through the night. They find out that spores or something from outer space is coming in. This radiation has started affecting people and bringing the dead back to life. So the government sends out the National Guard to bring order, and they make it through the night. And you think that the brother's gonna make it to the end, but no, he dies from a headshot
Mm.
right at the end. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
My number three
68.
My number three is you see the brother was in charge, but he still died at the end. Okay, my number three is Indestructible Man.
Hmm.
It's 1956, and it stars Lon Chaney Jr., who was in many horror movies. Uh, The movie opens with him telling his lawyer, "Man, you sold me down the river. I can't believe you did this to me. I'm gonna get you." And he says, "I'm gonna get the other two, his two cohorts, in the crime that he was committed for and going to the gas chamber. He killed the guards in this armored car heist. So they gas him. He dies. But his body is sold to this scientist who's been working on, I believe it was some type of cancer cure. But it also had some reanimating characteristics. So what happens is the indestructible man is injected with this serum and brought to life by electricity. Well, when he was reanimated by the electricity, his vocal cords were damaged, so he couldn't talk. But unlike your typical Frankenstein type monster who's reanimated and who only has killed, destroyed, destruct, on his brain, he remembers everything. And he goes after the people that wronged him. And I thought it was a pretty good movie. That's Indestructible Man.
Okay.
Okay. Where am I up to? 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh boy, this is hard. This is so hard. Okay. I'm gonna go with Carnival of Souls.
Carnival of Souls.
Carnival of Souls, 1962. And I watched that again last night. And as I was watching it, I said, I have seen this movie before. And it was good then, too. It's about this girl who's riding in this car with 2 of her friends. And they start racing these 2 guys in a car, and as they're racing across the bridge, the car that the girls are in falls off the bridge into the river. So the girl, they drag the river, and they can't find the car. Well, hours later, the star of the show, can't remember her name, she walks out of the river, and she goes back to living her life as usual, and she moves from Kansas to Oregon, I believe, to work in a church. She's an organist for a church. Well, on her way, she starts seeing this man who's following her. He's following her. And as her days go on, she finds this rooming house. She sees this guy around her rooming house. And then there's this old carnival shut down at the edge of town. And she passes that carnival on her way between work and home. And she sees this guy. And it turns out that she starts thinking she's lost her mind, but then at the end of the movie you find out that they found her body. When they found the car, they found her body in the car with the other 2 girls. So that was a real twist at the end. It was really good. It's really good.
This movie is a super low budget movie, but it made a ton of money.
That's because it was a good movie.
Yeah, it had cutting edge or different shooting style for when it was made, and when it came out, it didn't do that well. But over time, it just made a ton of money because it didn't cost a lot to make at the time.
Right. Okay, and my number 1 is 13 Ghosts.
So what? Wait a minute. So you did
5, 4, 3,
honorable
2.
mention?
Oh, you want me to do my honorable mention now?
Well, you already said what your number one is.
Yeah, my number one is 13 Ghosts. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna pull that up.
And that really, to appreciate this movie, you got to have the they're not 3D glasses, but they're like black and white glasses, so you can really see the ghost. The original 13 Ghosts, made in 19, I forget the year that movie was made. Not 2001, not that one.
Oh, my bad. Which one was it? 1960?
Yeah. Yeah, the original 13 Ghosts. You know, the movie's about a family who, well, when the movie starts, the father's a professor. He's giving a lecture, and his wife, well, his assistant comes and tells him his wife is on the phone. So he answers the phone, and she's like, "The movers are here again. They're taking all the furniture. We're behind on the payments." So then cut to the end of the day. It's their son's birthday, and he makes a birthday wish. His wish is that we can live in a house where people can't come and take our furniture. So suddenly a gust of wind comes in, blows out the candles, and then suddenly there's a knock at the door that the professor's uncle died, and he has inherited a house. But of course, there's a catch. The family has to live in the house. They cannot sell the house. And then they find out that the house is inhabited by 12 ghosts. It's inhabited by 12 ghosts. And I'm not going to ruin the end of that one, because it's not like the more modern version. It's a different ending on this one.
Okay, I didn't know that there was one before that one.
Yes, and that one was 13 Ghosts was really good. And my honorable mention may be debatable to some, but it is technically categorized as a horror movie. It is the original Godzilla. And I picked the original Godzilla because it was a social commentary on how bad nuclear weapons are. Because Godzilla would have never been brought back, reanimated, had they not messed with those nuclear weapons. And plus, for the time, it was just, it was just a good movie with the special effects of the day. Of course, it's corny now, but the social commentary of the movie is what I like about it, and gets its honorable mention pick from me.
Okay.
So that's my list.
I have no complaints, Kyle. That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, it is. Introduce new stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a labor of love, and I had to leave off a couple of good ones. That's it. I'm gonna reserve those good ones because we may have to revisit this category.
I appreciate that, because there's a few that I'm gonna have to go back and watch based off your recommendation. So I'm glad you didn't spoil them all.
Yeah. I thought those were pretty good. Especially like that 13 Ghosts is really good. Oh, and man, see, there was another one that I really want to tell y'all about this. Can I tell y'all about this movie?
Shadow is shaking his head, and no, save it for
okay, I'll see if it's on one of y'all's lists anyway.
Yeah, if it is, then you can commentate on it.
Okay.
All right, who wants to go next?
I think
Isis should go next.
I think Isis should
Yeah.
go next with a shot of her cider.
Where is your shot, Sir Shadow? AKA
Well,
Mr. Boy.
I'm gonna have to get me a great big mug like that.
Is that a
That's
big mug? Let me see what he drinks.
that's my little mug. I'm just drinking some
Oh.
Guinness drop.
Guinness stout. Oh yeah, a good ale, my friend. A very good ale.
I'm gonna switch it up to a sour next. So when you see the color of this beer change, don't be shocked. But I
Okay.
think Isis should go next.
All right. Well, I will go next. And let's see. I'm bringing up my number 5, which is The Fog. And maybe I got the year wrong. Is it 1980, Kyle? Is that the original one? I think the original one was in black and white.
I don't
This is
know.
John Carpenter's version. I was looking for the one that was in black and white.
Okay.
But I put original. The Fog, the original movie. Let's see. Maybe I'm tripping. No, that's what it's coming up with, y'all. 1980. You know, it wasn't black and white, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's why Night of the Lepus didn't make my list. It was 1973, but it Sir Shadow. If you want to see a good unorthodox horror movie, Night of the Lepus.
I don't think that's called The Fog. This is called The Fog. Not no Night of the Leeches. I don't even know what you're talking about, Kyle.
Ah, that was yeah. I got off on a tangent. I'm sorry there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This,
Sorry.
do y'all remember that Jamie Lee Curtis was in this movie? That's one
I
of the reasons
remember.
why she got named like the Scream Queen, because she was in a lot of horror movies in her early career.
I didn't remember that she was in it. What was she? A little girl?
No, this is her. She was the teenager. She went to go find when everything started getting foggy. She went to go to the lighthouse to
Well,
go find the
wasn't
guy that she in the car with right here. You see him?
yeah? Wasn't Adrienne Barbeau in that movie?
Yep. You got Adrian Barboa, Hal Holbrook, Janet Lee. Can you believe that Janet Lee was in this movie? Janet Lee
Nope.
acting for years and years.
Yes,
And
I remember that movie.
there
Yeah.
she is again in color. There she is. Now, um, my mind is fried, but let's check the movie out. I think anything that Jamie Lee Curtis is in is worth checking out. But I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody because it's a weird fog that comes across the town. It's very thick, and things start happening within the community that are hurting the people there. And then there's a reason behind it that the fog came out for that community. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know how else to explain it, but if I explain too much of it, then you'll know the premise of the movie. But I think some of y'all done already seen it, right?
Yeah, seen the movie.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Uh, Eric, Shadow, you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's been a hot second. But there's so many different versions of this movie, so I probably need to go back and rewatch it. You know,
Yes.
you got the mini series, you got the actual movie, you got the remake, you got it's just so
Yeah,
many.
you have to watch the one that God dog. You know what? You have to watch the one that
John Carpenter did.
The one with Jamie Lee Curtis in it. I'm not sure. It probably is John Carpenter, but
I
I'm
think it is.
100% sure. Okay. So, oh, wait, there's another one. Kind of hard to. I'm not multitasking today, y'all. So please forgive me. All right. So my next
Take a sip
movie
and you'll be ready to go.
is gonna hype me up. Is the original Blob. The
Yeah, I knew
Blob.
not to go there.
Steve McQueen. Man, because back then they had to be creative. This came out, it says 1958. They had to be
Yes.
creative. They didn't have all this computer graphic things to be able to complete this stuff. But this didn't it come from an alien spaceship?
Yeah, it
As I
came from
remember.
space, and they were actually going to change the original name of the movie was supposed to be like the Pink Blob from Outer Space or something like that, and they changed it to just the Blob because obviously that other title is whack.
I'm glad because can you imagine? I mean, and they
Yeah,
made it
that would
move.
have been a long title.
It was inching across stuff. And then every time it eats something or somebody or consume something, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Well, my thing is anybody that got ate by that deserved to be eaten because it was a slow mover.
But they had to be astonished to try to figure out what is that.
Yeah, I ain't trying to figure out what a moving mass is. I'm
Wasn't none of
sorry.
us trying to figure it out. We just got to going. The rest of them was looking up. My goodness, what is that? All right. So the Blob is one of my favorite because like I said back then, you had to be creative in what you came up with. Okay. My next movie is going to be in this not as old. It's a little newer. So I'm kind of bringing it to the beginning.
While you
I
while
was
you
making
while you
I
pull
was
that new
making the
one up,
scary sound.
while you pull that new one up, I got a question for you on your old one.
Yeah.
What what did you like the most about the Blob? Was it more of the special effects and the times, or was it the storyline and the acting? Like
Oh
to
wait a minute, I gotta go back to it wasn't even because they didn't the acting to me it was mediocre. It wasn't that great. Uh but it was like back then when I was a kid watching movies, I ain't gonna tell my age right now, but uh we only had so many horror movies and most of them was vampire movies. This was something different. This is more of like a sci-fi,
Yeah.
and it was creative how they came up with the graphics for it. So I didn't, to me it was it was like going to the drive-in movie worthy. You know what I'm saying? To go see something like that at the time. This one is a classic. Right. This one is called, and Eddie should know this because I made him watch it.
The birds?
The Birds, 1963. Alfred Hitchcock, the horror master.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh
had a
my
couple
God.
from him that didn't make my list.
I'm sure there's a reason why they didn't make the list. This movie should be one of the reasons it didn't make the list.
What? What was wrong with the birds? They was running. And when I watched this movie, I had to go outside and make sure wasn't no birds flying around. It kind of made me paranoid. I didn't want to be outside with the birds. I felt like they was gonna attack me.
You
It
know
was
what?
something.
I
It
can't.
was
I can't
something
even
like
front.
this could really happen. Like the birds could really turn on you. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever been around a flock of birds, especially, where there ain't too many birds where we kind of grew up with. It was some birds, but they was them dusty birds. What you call them dusty birds, Kevin? Not the crows, but
So
little
I'm not.
brown birds.
I'm not gonna front. I still don't like the movie, but I have had like horrifying dreams of birds attacking me in my sleep and woke up. So I'm not. I'm not
A
gonna.
dream?
I'm immune to the fear that you're displaying right now.
Oh, you said you had a dream or it really happened?
I had a dream. I
Ah,
had a dream of a crow
no,
or something.
I have not been attacked. I've been swarmed by the black starlings, which are smaller than crows. Uh,
Mhm.
when they like here around Houston, it's like fall. They all migrate and they'll just all flock up in trees. And sometimes if you walk by them, they'll just swarm you. They'll just start like diving at you. They won't like peck you on the head, but yeah, yeah,
Don't you remember
yeah.
one time them ducks started chasing y'all at the park across the street from your auntie's house? I remember the birds can be real in any kind of form. I'm just telling you. All right. So that's what my number 3.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. So my number 2 is dun, 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 dun. This is another classic. Should have let Sir Shadow do this because I'm typing in slow motion. All right. So my audience, please forgive me for typing in slow motion. Let me put this up real quick. This. Oh man, I was trying to get a bigger one up. The Omen. The
Good
Omen.
movie.
That little kid was evil. He was evil. He didn't look evil. Do anybody know what
What
his real name is?
what
Damien.
year was that movie?
It was 40 years ago, is what he said.
Like 19.
1976.
Oh, yeah. That at the time,
1970.
Sweet kid.
at the time, that was one of the scariest movies I had ever seen.
Yeah, I saw one of them other ones that I know y'all probably have on y'all list, but I'm gonna be original. I'm gonna be like Kyle over there, think of stuff that y'all ain't never think of. But yeah, this little boy and the stuff that was going on, this little boy was kind of creepy. And then he had the dog. Man, if you ain't seen the original Omen, I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that new one. I ain't talking about that the newest, the latest one that came out. I mean, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because this was this one was the next one, right? See, that's the last. That's when he grew up. I'm telling you that gotta come up with the latest one. Go back and check it out. All right, so my honorable mention is going to be. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wait a minute. Why I gotta go through all of that? Here it is. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there you go. And this one is a newer film, Insidious. Do you know why I picked it?
Was it because of Dalton?
Is that the boy name? Because
Yeah.
I don't remember nobody's name. Excuse my memory. Uh, no, it wasn't so much as Dalton. Because I always get this confused. Yeah, I'll be thinking about but that was an ugly creature.
Can you speak into the mic because
Oh,
you
my bad. Sorry. I said that was an ugly creature right there, right here. It because it reminded me they thought outside the box.
To be absolutely honest, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
They, you didn't see Insidious? They thought
I
outside.
don't believe I've ever seen Insidious.
They had to go be a little bit different.
let me give you a synopsis of this amazing movie, if I may,
Thank
Isis.
you. Help me out.
So essentially, what it is about this kid Dalton who has a little brother, who's okay. Dalton somehow gets medically hurt and is stuck in the bed, but he has this ability to go into a realm called the Further, where he can astral project himself from his sleep status or state. And when he goes, it's an out of body experience pretty much. So he takes his spiritual body into the spiritual realm, and he can interact with all these paranormal things, is the best way to say it. Entities, demons, ghosts. He can kind of interact with all of it. And his brother, his younger brother, is trying to tell his parents that all of this is happening. And when Dalton's awake, he's trying to tell his parents that it's happening through paintings and writings and all this other stuff. Once they finally believe him, they get a person to come in and review, or not review, but not even perform an exorcist, just kind of like try and understand what the kid is going through. And then the paranormal person who comes in, brings her team, explains what's happening, and the whole family kind of gets into this crazy situation. And they're actually going to come out with a new one, I think, next year. But don't watch past the third one because the other two after that are trash. Watch one,
Okay.
possibly this new one coming out, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir Shadow. You broke that down very, very well. Appreciate your support. My number one movie of all time. Horror movie, that is. It's a Stephen King classic. He took Alfred Hitchcock's place. The Silver Bullet.
The what?
The Silver Bullet, man. Silver Bullet. You ain't seen the Silver Bullet? I know you seen the Silver Bullet with Gary Busey. I thought I watched it with you.
Maybe.
Stephen King, the Silver Bullet. Okay. So
Is it about a werewolf?
Oh, yeah, it's about a werewolf. Right? Small community town. And people start ending up getting killed in gruesome manners, and they have no idea what is going on. And
They don't think it's a rabid dog.
they think it's an animal or something at first, which it is an animal. It's just not the animal that they thinking about. And I think this might have been the first movie that Corey Haim was in. You know, Corey Haim, may he rest in power. Also did that other horror flicks with the flying vampires. Okay, I ain't gonna say the name in case somebody else might want to bring it up in they top 5.
Thank you.
But yeah. So the person that's dreaming about what's going on in the community and trying to talk everybody down is the guilty party. And I think this is the first time I seen the werewolf transform the way they made it transform. And once again, it didn't have all that CGI, and is that what you call it?
Yeah, CGI.
Yeah. It
Yeah, it
didn't
had
have all of
practical
that.
effects.
This was
Yeah,
just
so they used the time lapse.
this was just raw talent. Yes. Yes. And it's very suspenseful,
Okay.
action packed, and I think you would truly enjoy it. It's not it's a nail biter. So the Silver Bullet, low budget, but it was a good movie. All right, and that is
That's a good list. That's a very good list.
thank you very much. So, Mr. Sir Shadow, since you called me out, let's see what you got.
You sure you want me to go next, Eddie? You don't want to go next?
I don't. I'm sitting here thinking because Cal brought up a topic that I really liked, but due to technical difficulties, the list was changed a couple times. So it went from black and white horror movies to just horror movies to back to black and white horror movies again. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna do a mixture of black and
And
white.
I was just
That's
about
what
to
I
say,
did.
don't mix it.
Mm.
Don't
I was
mix it.
just about to say,
I like
The,
the
the
mixture.
birds
I'm
came
not
out
gonna
in black and white before they made it in colorization.
Well,
Yeah, I like the mixture idea. Go for it. I say.
well, I'm trying to think because my thing is, like Cal say, I got a love for the black and white horror genre. But
yeah,
the simple fact is, most of the movies were made in the 60s, 70s, early 70s, even 50s. So you had to get the full effect of the movie, you had to have good actors. If the actors were no good, the movie was no good. Well, nowadays they can throw a lot of CGI up there and just pass it on as a horror movie. You know, so the acting don't have to be as great. You know, because they want a lot of jump scares and all that stuff. So that's why I'm torn. But we'll start this list off. Here's a good movie, originally black and white, but they made a new version, which actually I like the black and white one, scared me more than the newer version. And the movie was called The Fly.
Mm.
oh yeah, that's a good movie.
And the original one was Vincent Price,
Yeah,
you know, but they had a newer one with Jeff Goldblum.
So
I
which
believe I
one?
did.
Brindle Fly.
The original, the
Was it
original
Brindle Fly or Brundle Fly? I think it was Brindle Fly.
Brando Fly.
Mm-mm.
So
But
Yeah,
the movie,
Brindle Fly.
so you saying the Vincent Price version, the black and white, is better than the Jeff Goldblum version?
what I'm saying is, when I saw that one, the original, it was kind of cheesy, but in the original version, it had a scene in it which I never forget, and to this day it still haunts me. And the premise of the movie is they try to they did an experiment. The seeking they transfer potty do a transportation from one place to another. But inside the machine, a fly got inside the machine, so it actually merged with the man. And so the man began to turn, it became half man, half fly. But just like anything else, the fly became a half man, half fly. And the part that got me in the whole movie was the fly, it was a regular sized fly, had the body of a fly, but the face of a man. And they were walking and they saw a spider web, and the fly got caught in the spider web, but it has the face of a man. and it's still screaming, "Help me, help me," because the spider is getting ready to eat the fly.
Help me. Help.
Yes, and I always remember this. It wasn't no. I always remember this part of this movie, and it always freaks me out. And to this day, I say to myself, if I was walking down the street and I saw a little bitty fly with a human face, what would I do? It would scare the living bejeebers out of me. It can't hurt me, but it would scare me because I'm sitting here looking at it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a part where he said, "Help me."
So, which one makes the list? The original or the?
The original.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, the Jeff Goldblum was real good, but the original, I'ma always think of that when I think of The Fly. I'ma
Yeah.
always think of that movie. The second one on my list, they made a version and then they made a newer version. And the movie is called The Island of Dr. Monroe.
Yeah.
Or you had this doctor who was experimenting, splicing human DNA with animal DNA.
Which one's going on your list though? The old one or the new one?
The old one, because it's black and white. I gotta go with the old one. But the new one, I think y'all cats would enjoy because it still had the same premise. But it had the Godfather in it. What's his name?
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
Oh.
The doctor. And his assistant was Val Kilmer. I think the original one was Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster was in the original.
The Island of Dr. Monroe.
H.G. Wells.
Yeah, H.G. Wells. Yep, exactly. I enjoyed this movie
Yeah, it's a good movie.
because
I see the black and white version. All I can see is the 1977 version.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 1977 one.
And this is where you first understood where science was going because they say art imitates life. Now, this is back in the 70s. They were talking about genetic splicing and creating something, playing God. And the doctor went crazy because he felt he was God because he was creating. And his most precious one was this female that was half female, half cat. But when you seen the female at first, you thought she was just a regular female. But then you start seeing her tendencies. But when the doctor died and he could no longer give them their treatments, they started reverting back to their basic animal instincts once again.
I never did like this movie.
Huh?
I never did care for the Island of Dr. Monroe.
I mean, it's one of the movies. I just really, that's why I liked it because at that time, being a young kid, you seeing something like this, I'm not understanding science. All I know is this man is splicing together animals and humans to create a whole new breed, but he has a God complex. So now this is his island.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this movie, The Island of Dr. Monroe.
Okay. And what's your next movie?
The next movie on my list is called, it's a horror movie, but it's a psychological horror. And it's called Nightmare Alley. Now they redid the movie a couple years ago. But what it is, it's about a carnival. With carnival freaks and carnival people. And I'm not gonna lie, the newer version was a little better than the older version, but they did the same premise.
So you want the newer version?
No, you can go watch the older version and then you go back and watch the newer version. because they had to update it a little bit. But it was all about a hustle because you don't really get it to the end. Where this guy, he did some shady things, so he ran away and worked at the carnival. But at the carnival, he worked in the side shows. And one of the sideshow acts was this thing called the Geek. Now, the Geek was one of them kind of people, they treated him bad, kept him in a cage. He was eating chicken heads. He was just doing all type of disgusting things. Yeah, and back in the days, back in the 60s and 70s and then 50s and 40s, and especially back in the 40s, these sideshows, it would have certain people, the incredible fat woman or the half woman that would turn into a snake if she stayed there too long, and just different little things. But the Geek was like the main attraction. It was a guy who was a psychic, but he died, and the wife took over doing the psychic things. Well, the guy that was cleaning the tents out wanted to be part of the act, so he became the assistant. And the wife showed him the trick of being a mentalist.
Mm.
It was all a scam. Everything was a scam. But they did it so well, people thought he had mental powers.
Mm.
But the wife said, be careful with this because you'll get yourself caught in too deep over some stuff you should not be doing. But like anything else, money takes over your life. And he was making so much money. So he left the carnival and started doing it on his own with the woman. Well, he met this one woman who wanted to kill this rich man. But she wasn't quite sure how to do it. So actuality, she set him up to actually kill him because she was a psychiatrist. She knew all his deepest and darkest secrets.
Mm.
And one of the things was his daughter was killed, and his psychic power was he would know the future, and he could talk to spirits and let you see your loved ones from the past in the grave. Well, he really couldn't do it. It was all a scam, but he was charging this guy hundreds of thousands of dollars each time he did it. Well, the guy said, well, this time I actually want to see the daughter. I want to touch her. He said, you can't touch her, but I'll let you see her. So what he did was he had a girlfriend, and he dressed her up in the same white clothes that his daughter died in a car accident. The man sees the daughter and run to her. He like, no, don't run to her, and finds out that he was getting jabbed. He was getting duped. So he ends up killing that guy who was a real powerful man in that position who had killers and everything. He ends up killing him and his associate. So now he's on the run. And what he has to do is everybody, people knowing him and everything else. So he goes and he loses everything, and he has to go back and work at different little side carnivals again to make money because he couldn't hold a job. He couldn't do nothing because he would want it. And the only job they could give him was the Geek. So now the person he laughed at and humiliated all the time, he had to become the Geek. So he was eating chicken all that. So karma is something else. It's a psychological horror. You have to watch it now. So, but they redid it a couple years ago with Bradley Cooper in it. It's a good movie. So
Sounds good.
yeah. Well, Kyle, I don't know. You might not watch it because it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
Yeah, it's out of there.
It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes long. But it's basic. That's the new one, but it had an old one.
Yeah,
And so-
I'll probably watch the old one because it's shorter.
Yeah, it's shorter. It's shorter. The next movie-
I'm sorry. Just on that note, the longest movie on my list was 1 hour and 52 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah.
How did you manage that?
The next movie on my list and it was originally a French movie, but they translated it over to English. And the French movie was called Eyes Without a Face.
I wanted to see that movie. That movie would have made my list if I didn't have to pay to see it.
You never seen the movie? But
No,
they translated it over into English to the Horror Chamber of Dr. Frosso.
Okay.
And the whole and this movie,
Wait a minute. You said they changed it to what now?
you can look for the cover. It's called Eyes Without a Face. Yes, that's
Eyes Without a Face.
But then in the other
Yeah,
version,
I-
it's called this.
Yeah, that's the
No,
one
that's
that
the French. That's the
the
French
French
name
version.
of
Yeah.
the yeah.
yeah, that I really wanted to see that movie. I talked to Pam, and she told me that she saw it and she thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, it was a doctor, right? And he had a daughter. Well, I don't really want to get out into it because Cal want to watch the movie. But the premise of the movie is people were dumping dead bodies into water. And the doctor's daughter face got disfigured. So they were taking the dead corpses and grafted their faces to the skins of other humans. But the thing was, a lot of times it wouldn't take. So they would have to keep redoing it and redoing it and redoing it
Yeah.
again.
Probably because the tissue was dead already.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So I'm not gonna go into it. It was originally a French movie, came out in the 60s, and they made it a US version. It's called Eyes Without a Face.
Yep. Almost made my list, but I couldn't watch it.
It's a decent watch. I tell anybody, it's a and like I say, these movies, as I'm saying them, because you had to be a better actor back then. They took the craft a little. I'm not saying people don't take the craft serious now, but then you really had to take that craft real serious. So that was number 2, Eyes Without a Face. My honorable mention is a very controversial. I call it horror because it's horror for black folks. It's not horror for the other side. And the name of the movie is Birth of a Nation.
Oh,
Is that classified as an actual horror movie? Like when they made it, was it horror?
That you already know that's against the rules. You already know that's against the
I
rules.
know. I don't even know why you're saying that.
it's honorable mention though.
Nope,
No.
that's against the rules. That has to be listed as a
You can't
horror
take
movie.
the Western horror for something because of one race or something. No, that ain't no.
Even Kyle's Godzilla can be considered
Okay. All right. Okay.
It was Godzilla is classified as sci-fi
It was.
horror.
Yeah, his
yeah,
is
Birth
classified
of
as-
a Nation is not
ain't
horror
classified
listed
as no
in
horror.
any
probably a drama.
database.
Probably a drama, if anything.
It's horror for
Okay,
black
you tried, Eddie. You need another honorable mention.
folks. Okay.
That was a reach.
I got
That
you.
was a reach.
That was a far
I know
reach.
not to me, because
It's your
That was
horror.
that was a
But it
Space
ain't-
Jam Michael Jordan reach. With the monster holding him down.
Hell, know
I'm
what I'm
gonna
talking
need you to
about.
pick another one.
Oh,
You know
I
what?
agree, Foreshadow. It was.
on a purely emotional logistics to people, I feel you. I'm with you 100%.
I'm gonna
But
have to get the
technically,
hands
you're
out
wrong.
this, but I'm gonna have the hands out this.
Oh, okay. All right, then my honorable mention going to be a movie about a monster.
Okay.
And I told Isis about the movie because I was young when I watched it. And it was called Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Mm,
Yeah, I could roll with that.
mhm.
and a great honorable mention, I might add.
It ain't no honorable mention no more.
Yeah, that's honorable mention. And my number one movie,
Wait a minute, I ain't even pulled that one up yet. Yeah, really see. I don't know.
Everybody know
No,
what the creature from the Black
no,
Lagoon looked like.
no folk don't know what it looked like, man.
Okay, there
No,
may be
like
no, go
I'm
nope,
trying
nope, to the right, to the right,
every time to the right. Oh,
to
you
the
know,
left,
I'm going to.
at the top. No.
What is you doing?
Okay, that one is good. The one in the middle is good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because them at the top was all about. Look at that.
Yeah, that's one of the classic scenes in the movie right there too.
Mhm.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I liked the movie. I was young.
Yeah, I think he was just misunderstood.
Okay.
He was just misunderstood. He was just different.
Yeah. It reminds you of the
I
movie
don't know
that
how many times I watched these creatures. I watched it so many times.
Creature
Good movie.
features.
And my number one black and white horror movie. And it's horror, but it's psychological horror. And I think this is on about everybody's black and white list of horror movies. And all I got to do is say Norman.
Yep, that one almost made my list too.
And that is
It almost did, but
I forgot the name of that movie.
oh, come on.
I did. I'm telling you, I did. I could see
It
the
starts
movie.
with a P
I
and
literally
ends
mouthed
with an
it
O.
while he was talking about it.
I wasn't even looking at the screen.
Psycho.
And it's
Oh, I
it's
know.
by one of your favorite directors.
No.
Yeah, and I literally watched that last night. Did it
Norman
make my
Bates.
list? It was that close. That close. But I knew
Mhm.
somebody was gonna pick it.
Because
Somebody gonna pick it up.
split personality was real. Norman Bates was his
19.
name.
Yes, and that was at a time when people were discovering that as a mental illness. You know, it wasn't as well understood, obviously, as it is now. It was something that was new to people,
And
Because the
relatively
whole
new.
time we still thinking his mother is still alive. We didn't
Yeah, his voice
realize
changed and everything.
you
it
know
never.
what? I think this might have been an introduction of slasher movies.
It could have been.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
It
It
gave
was.
birth to the shower scene.
It did.
Yeah. And
It was.
the slasher movie.
It was the first of its kind. And I mean, and like I say, the thing was, you go you check into a hotel. And remember, that's why they made that commercial. Roaches check in, but they don't check out. And that's
Oh
my list
yeah.
for black and
Yeah.
white horrors.
And the
That's-
big reveal at the end, boy. That was a big reveal back. That was a big reveal.
You brought up some new
Yeah.
ones I ain't never heard of either. Eddie.
Yeah, I mean these are great movies, And like I say, I like the acting. You had to act. If you couldn't act, you couldn't. You either gonna be in a good movie or you was gonna be the first movie of a double feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You was gonna be the first movie of a double feature. If you couldn't act or you was new in the game, you weren't gonna be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like your list.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like your list, sir.
No, I'm gonna tell y'all right now before I do my list. I ain't got not a now black and white movie on my list because of the debacle and misunderstanding of what the topic was.
What debacle?
That's okay. The topic will be revisited.
Mhm.
I'm glad it will be. That's why I said I
It,
don't want no exposures because I'm down to watch a black and white
it
horror.
will be revisited, and they will all be black and white.
I am fine with that. I do not have a problem with that.
Nobody
So
has a problem with that, but I don't know what y'all talking about.
I'm gonna
The
go ahead
debacle
and get
was
No,
I'm gonna
last,
go ahead and get
discussed.
my
was that
hand rub on.
The person is not here, not to be mentioned, so it's not a discussion.
yeah, that's what I say. That's where the debacle came in at.
All right, Sir Shadow. Let's go. Let's roll.
So I'm gonna switch the list up just a bit. This is not my top 5 of all time either. That's another one where I messed up at. So y'all just gonna get this horror list this time, all right?
That's
This
all right.
is my high class horror list, all right?
High
This
class.
is
High class horror list.
yeah, with the exception of one. With the exception of one. This is that elevated horror. This is that stuff that ain't gonna have a bunch of jump scares in it, all right?
Okay.
It's that new age horror that y'all don't like. So a lot of my stuff is
Oh,
probably gonna be stuff y'all ain't seen and y'all probably won't watch. But here we go.
Hey, I
All
might
right.
watch it.
My number 5 is gonna be a newer movie called The Menu.
Mhm.
And the
Okay.
reason that I like this movie is because when you watch it, if you are a fan of those types of TV shows that are cooking competitions where they explain how things are methodically thought out, how the flavors are layered upon layered upon layered and prepared, this is the movie for you.
Oh, let me get that up for you.
It just came out last year, didn't it? It might have come out this year.
I do believe it was last year.
Now, is this truly classified as a horror movie?
I do believe
hey.
so, because that is probably the only reason that I watched it. And I'm not sure if you actually want to play the trailer. So if you could Google images that.
I just had it up. Hold
I don't
on.
want you to get copywritten or anything like that. But as you pull that up, I'll go ahead and explain the premise of the movie. So this is guy who is a major fan
I think
of
we can show about 30 minutes, 30 seconds of it.
what?
About 30 seconds of it.
You're gonna show a 30-second clip of it.
Yeah, you can show about 30 seconds of it. Ooh, great.
I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine.
There you go.
Do you have it up? Because it still shows the YouTube page.
Oh, did y'all not see it?
No,
It didn't
No.
play on the outside?
no, we still see the YouTube pause video.
Oh, it was playing. I'm sorry. Let me see. I don't know why it didn't.
Well, let's save that 30-second clip for another video explanation. Here we go. So it's about a guy who is a super fan of this famous cook who, you know, does his movie reviews or does his TV show reviews and has a really
Oh,
high rated Michelin star restaurant, well, several. And he invites a select few people to his island where he just kind of sets up. Well, here's the 30 seconds. I'll just be quiet. Yeah, we can't hear that either. All right. So, the
My
guy
bad.
takes his girlfriend to the exclusive viewing or tasting of these 5-course meals for this little island for this chef, and all he double hockey sticks breaks loose at this little island meeting. Um, but it is in the format of some of those high class food review TV shows. So you're watching it and it seems like a TV show when it's actually a horror movie. So I thought it was super cool, nice little twist, nice unexpectedness, and the cluelessness and acting of some of these people was on point. Like it's not even one of those like B-rated movies where you're just like, this is cheesy. This is like some grade A acting where you're like, man, are you really that dumb, or or was it just you were really into this? So I thought it was a really good movie, a nice little spin and twist on the horror genre. I'm already seeing other movies start to duplicate this form factor, which I think is cool. You got a gem when people start to duplicate something that you're doing, especially in horror. So
Okay.
What's his name? The Wolf Boy.
I do not remember. I'm assuming it is Nicholas Hoult, based on that screenshot you got right there.
Yeah.
Well, I did recognize John Leguizamo. Wasn't that
Yes.
John Leguizamo?
Yes, he is in the movie.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, I might watch it because he's in it.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
All right. So with this next one, I'm gonna give you the title first, so to give Isis an opportunity to type it up, pull it up. I'm gonna say Midsommar. That is Midsommar.
I can't say I've seen it.
I know you. I don't think any of y'all have watched this movie. Number one.
Let me see.
Number two, I know Kyle ain't gonna watch it because it's well over 2 hours. I think it's almost 3 hours.
It's out of there. It's out of there.
But there is a possibility he might watch it because there is a ton of hidden things in this movie. I watched this movie 3 times and I still have not been able to see the stuff hidden in the background. And when I say hidden in the background,
they have Easter eggs hidden in the background.
I wouldn't even say Easter eggs. There's like 30 something Easter eggs hidden in the background, but you're so caught into the storyline and the acting that's happening on the screen that you don't think to look past what's put in your face. And I like watching it because it's gory, it's suspenseful, it's a slow burn. Like I said, it has the hidden aspects of it. There's a lot that's happening in this movie where it's not just a jump scare. It makes you think, just because we all live in this day and age of technology, there are still people, places, and cultures that don't think like we do in first world countries. So there's a lot of culture shock in this movie. And it is a creepy movie, in my opinion. It's creepy. It's not horrifying. It is just weird when you really like dig into, like I said, the premise of what's happening, the culturism behind what's happening, why things are happening. And once you understand why those things are happening, you're kind of like, man, that is really a possibility for somebody to go on a trip to a foreign country, not have any technology, no cell phone coverage, and to not make it out.
Okay.
That's scary.
And these are all college kids trying to finish up college degrees and things like that. So it's just creepy. It's super creepy. Long movie, super slow burn, but the more and more you watch it, the more and more you think about it, the more and more creepier it gets.
Okay.
Here's another one for you. I'm sure some of y'all have seen it, and if you haven't, I definitely recommend it because I bought it. Hereditary.
Okay.
Another slow burn. I think there's a few jump scares towards the end, but it is another burn on the a psychological kind of.
Mute your phone.
It's another burn on the way that things are happening in the movie and the family dynamic. So with Hereditary, you have this brother who is just trying to live his life, as a typical high school kid. You have this mother who's trying to figure out the family dynamics. You have this little weird girl. That's exactly what she is. She's weird throughout the entire movie, and I cannot explain why. And you have this dad or husband who just will not accept everything that's happening in the family. I really don't want to give away what happens, but this is one of those movies where you don't expect a twist. Because
I tried watching this movie 3 times and fell asleep. I'm sorry.
You fall asleep on anything, so that don't count.
I'm not the one that falls asleep. It's
Oh man.
falls asleep.
If you can't make it past, I think it's the shocker of this movie, because once you hit the shocker after the party, you're kind of hooked. If you can't make it past that, then you just need to watch this midday when you're wide awake and go from there. But if you can't make it past the party, then you definitely need to try again, because stuff really picks up after the party. And it really picks up at the end. I'm not going to spoil the movie because it's one of those newer movies. It should be available. I think it's a really good movie. Like I said, I do believe there's like just jump scares towards the end, but the entire movie is not based off of jump scares. I do believe that was my number 3, right?
Yes.
All right, so my number 2, I'm gonna say, once again, it's a newer movie. I'm gonna say it is The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I've seen it.
It's a different movie. It is kind of one of those possession movies, but the premise of it is you have this younger gentleman who's just trying to take over family business from pops, and that family business is a mortician. He is setting up the body of it's either a mortician or an investigator for autopsies or whatever for the police. So they get this body in, and obviously it's from the cops. It's in a small town, and they're trying to figure out possibly what happened to this no-name individual. And as they try and discover the deeper and deeper they dive into this essentially cadaver type body, or this Jane Doe, the weirder and weirder things get. Obviously, with any other possession movie, you got your lights flickering, loss of power, things we all freak out about when we live in the day and age. The creepier thing about this movie is every time something happens, the body changes. So they'll discover one thing about the body, like, oh, this could be a way that this individual died. And then they'll discover something else. And the deeper and deeper that they just uncover more and more and more, the creepier and creepier things start to happen where they are in this morgue.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a must watch for me.
Yeah, it gets I like to watch these type of movies when it's pitch black, late at night, and possibly raining. So for me, my list is based off of setting and tone. I set the tone, I watch the movie, I try and get into like a even creepier vibe when I'm watching these movies.
All right.
Oh yeah. I think. Let me see if I could watch that on Prime Video.
It's a good
Um,
movie. I watched it.
yeah. So my
Let's see. Oh, and only an hour and 26 minutes. Oh, this video is currently unavailable to watch in your
oh,
location.
oh man, yeah. You might have to fix that because that's not a bad one. Especially like I said, if it's dark and raining, that's a good one to watch.
Uh, okay.
My number 2 is going to be a movie called Saint Maud. This movie came out in 2019, and it's a lower rated movie. I don't think anybody on the panel has seen it before.
No.
No.
I don't even know
No.
how to explain the movie. It's
Let me make sure I
creepy.
got the right one up.
Yes, that's it. It's creepy. And once again, it's another one of those psychological super slow burns, and it picks up a lot towards the end. If you make it to where she goes to the club, and this is the part that freaks me out, and I'm going to say it because it's in the trailer. This chick is a nurse who's a caregiver. She's a caregiver nurse, and she's taking care of a higher class individual who I think was an actress or musician at one time, big name actress or musician, and she's getting older and needs assistance.
Prime Video.
So this chick gets to the point where she thinks that she is being elevated by a holy entity. She thinks that it's like an angel or something that's reaching out to her. That's a perfect explanation for what I'm explaining right now. She thinks it's like an angel or somebody, helping her because she's a nurse and she's learning how to take care of all these people, but it's not. So she lets whatever it is in, and she explains it in the trailer and in the movie that she feels great when everything is being taken care of by this individual. And she's an extremist to the point where she takes thumbtacks and puts it in her shoe. And I'm talking about a bunch of thumbtacks, not one. She puts a bunch of thumbtacks in her shoe and is walking around the city experiencing pain, but she thinks it is the pain from this angel who is possessing her, taking over her. And she gets a rude awakening really fast towards the end when she realizes that is not what is taking over her or reaching out to her. So this movie does a quick flip and switch on you, and it is good.
I'd like to catch that too.
Yeah, it's kind of about up my alley.
And once again, I don't think it's like 2 hours long, so it should be up Kyle's alley too. My honorable mention is going to be a movie called Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yep, Cabin in the Woods. It is a comedy / horror.
No, you know what? No.
What?
No.
How you just gonna hate? It's a comedy / horror.
No.
It is literally listed.
Let me tell you something. I got that on my B list movie.
If you would pull up IMDb, please, and extrapolate the fact that I'm stating that this is actually listed as a horror movie because there are horror elements in the movie.
Cabin in the Woods movie.
Related content.
It's on my B. It's on my B.
IMDb link.
There's cult horror favorite.
Well, I don't know. First of all, it's written by Joss Whedon, so I would classify it as a horror because it's written by Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon did Star Trek.
Pull up IMDb.
Joss Whedon did. Joss Whedon did. What was the sisters? Charmed. And also, didn't Joss Whedon do? No, Joss Whedon didn't do that. But Joss Whedon did Charmed, right? Am I right?
The TV show Charmed.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that very first subcategory next to
Horror,
mystery and thriller?
thriller.
Independent Movie Database comes through again. That is a horror movie through and through. Thank you, sir. Honorable mention: The Cabin in the
Genre
Woods.
horror mystery theater. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Eddie. It does say horror first,
Yep.
and then mystery, then thriller.
Let me tell you what.
So
Like
I'm gonna tell you what. If I couldn't do Birth of a Nation, you surely can't do Cabin in the Woods.
that does not
Okay.
say horror.
let
That
me
sounds
see.
like a 3-1 vote, and horror wins. So
Has one of my favorite actors in it too.
yeah, Chris Hemsworth in his lesser known roles.
Back in 2011.
Yeah, it's a bit of a twist, and I like it because I think a lot more movies should do this. This is not a spoof movie, but it does kind of detail a lot of different horror movies in this movie. It's about a group of teens that get together from, college, go on a trip just to kind of get their minds out of, schoolwork, whatnot. They go to this cabin in the woods and they just hang out just for a weekend. And while they're there, obviously, all of the horror tropes start to happen. Possessions, slashers, creepy people in the woods.
Oh, it got the black guy in there too.
Yep, sci-fi, all types of stuff happen with this movie, and I think it is a must watch. And people that you don't expect to survive actually survive. So, and people that you don't expect to die actually die. So, I think it's cool. It's a really good movie.
Everybody dies.
there are fan theories out there. I'll let people figure it out on their own when they watch it. I think it's dope though. It's I don't know of any other movies that are serious horror movies that are set up like this. Without being a spoof. So
don't be a hater, Eddie.
yeah, IMDb proved you wrong.
It is not a horror movie.
Opinions don't matter here.
Yep.
IMDb counts.
IMDb says it is. And what's your number? Is that your number one?
No, that was my honorable mention.
That's what I thought. What's your number?
Look, oh, wait a minute before you make your honorable mention. I have The Menu, Midsummer, Hereditary, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Saint Maud, Cabin in the Woods.
Wait, what?
Cabin in the Woods. That's
That was-
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's it. You done.
Oh wow. That's it. That's it.
That's it. You're done.
Save that other one for another day.
Save that one for next time.
You should never put Cabin in the Woods on there. And you had that good movie on there.
You know what? Cabin in the Woods fits perfectly. I'll take that because it is different from everything on my list. My last one was gonna be something.
Hey,
I'm not gonna list it. I'm not gonna list it, but it probably would have been a bit more controversial, especially for people who are gonna watch this. So yeah, I'm fine with my list.
I think everybody had a pretty good list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need y'all to watch some of these newer, elevated horror genre movies.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to put some of these movies back on my watch list on IMDb because I do it and they're not saving for some reason. So
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the original Dracula that Cal talked about.
Nosferatu.
I haven't seen it in 50 million years. I usually hate movies. I gotta read the stuff.
You don't even like watching movies.
I've seen it before, but the acting.
Yeah,
I remember. I remember that was the first time they made somebody look like a vampire, but he was over exaggerated with the long ears and the body.
Well, if you look up the physical description of Dracula, he had a long, pointed, angular nose, and he had pointy ears.
Yeah, well, that's fictional.
No, that's in the
Based
physical
off a
description.
real life
Let
character,
me
Yeah,
tell
real
you,
life
yeah,
person.
I was
yeah.
watching a documentary on Vlad.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, I watched a documentary about 6 months ago
Mm.
about him, and so many myths about the vampire genre. You know, uh, yeah, they. But I would watch the movie because just like an old Charlie Chaplin movie, he had to act because it really wasn't a lot of sound back then. So he had to do a lot of reading and a lot of imagination.
So, with that being said, I have a question.
Yes.
Who got the movie topic for next week?
Well,
I thought it was you.
Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Elongated nose.
Long nose, long skinny nose.
I
Eddie 0 for 2 today.
just understand. I don't want. It's a topic for another day. I'm not gonna get it out because this is about
Right.
movies. It's about movies. So we're not gonna record what my actual thoughts of it is.
So
But
did you have time to think about what you wanted to the next topic to be, Sir Shadow?
Oh, I already know.
Oh, it didn't take you long to think about it. What is that?
You can thank Eddie for this one.
Oh,
Oh Lord.
Y'all about to be mad.
Oh Lord.
Say that again.
Lord.
It's super simple because you got from the 1920s to 2023 your top 5 vampire movies of all time.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
From 1920.
From Nosferatu to whatever's out today. I want to see what Eddie got to say. I want you to kick it off first. I want you to kick it off first next week too.
I'm a movie watcher and I already got 20 in my head. But because I feel like vampires are hanging fruit. When they can't think of no other movie to make, they'll make a vampire movie.
No, Eddie Murphy Dracula movies.
He said from 1920 to now. Now, if I want to do vampire in Brooklyn, I can do vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Charlie Murphy wrote that
the
movie.
low hanging fruit that they make movies that's so easy is zombie movies.
Yeah, that's low hanging fruit too. I agree with you.
You ain't got to think it. Ain't nobody acting. They just running from zombies and blowing them and shooting them.
But you never know. There have been some new tropes out there that have switched up that genre, and we can save that genre for later. But next week.
Oh yeah, save it because all my zombies gonna be slow moving. They ain't gonna be none of them fast, not none of those lightning fast thinking zombies because that's the anathema of a zombie. A zombie is supposed to be like not supposed to be like moving. No.
Me and Isis was watching a zombie movie 3 weeks ago. And when they moving slow,
better look.
They weren't moving slow. They weren't real zombies then.
Hey,
they were zombies.
Mess you up when they get to that radioactivity or they get that rage in them, man. I'm telling you, it messes you up.
Oh Lord!
But once again, here we go. I'm gonna bring it back to the topic of next week because there's a bunch of different vampires out there.
Top 5 vampire movies of all time.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm gonna have a lot on my list, but if y'all steal my number 1, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it just cause I know what it is.
That's cold-blooded, man. That's cold-blooded.
Hey, what is that, Eddie? So I can watch it.
Nah. I'm not gonna say. I'll say that for the people next week.
All right,
Well,
y'all.
y'all already know mine are gonna be classic Draculas.
Well, I'm switch it up. I got a couple in mind that I liked, and
You're gonna have a few Christopher Lees.
Hey,
mine
Baby,
don't be
baby.
telling people what I'm gonna get, man.
See it. All right, y'all. It's time. It's past my bedtime. And y'all can see it's dark. Old lady got
Alrighty.
I
Well,
enjoyed it,
I
y'all.
really enjoyed this time. I am slightly saddened that the most vocal against the black and white genre didn't show up.
uh, she that person wouldn't have had no black and white ones, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Why y'all trying to make me clip stuff? Nip and tuck?
Oh, well, I thought you were done filming.
I wasn't. I was gonna end it and say goodbye to everyone, and we will see y'all next week. Same time, same channel.
Hold on, Isis. One more thing. Shout out to Bethune Cookman, HBCU. Keep your head up, students.
Did I miss something?
Every week, I give a shout out to another historically black college, and so this week was Bethune Cookman.
And last week was Norfolk State.
Last week was Norfolk State.
Oh, okay. All right, I missed that too. All right, keeping it true
All right.
to the places I've been, repping that 2 up, 2 down, 9 to 8 town. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.